Hey friends, welcome to my channel. I'm Eugene and this is the very first video of a 4-part series that I will be making called Why You're So Unproductive. And I uncover some universal issues that every one of us face when we're trying to get work done, and I offer some essential solutions towards it. And so in this video I will be covering the topic of procrastination and what to do. A huge problem for every one of us when we're trying to be productive, and I'm sure you guys have experienced it in some form, whether you're trying to get your homework done but you're just sitting on your couch watching Netflix, just anything in general, being late to do tasks. We all know that it is not really pleasant. The big problem with procrastination isn't the problem or the work that you have at hand. Well, it is, but it's not the biggest one. The biggest one is actually how it compounds over time to come back and haunt you. And in some cases, the consequences of procrastination can be really detrimental. Not only is the work that you're going to complete not done to the best of your ability, but also in the future you'll be crammed for time, which results in poor work quality, further translating into bad results. And so let's begin with analyzing this problem of procrastination. To begin with, why do we procrastinate? And let's simplify this into before starting work and during work, as we can also be really unproductive while we have started work, and that can lead to procrastination. And so in this video, I will be going over before starting work, and in my next episode or so, I'll be going deeper into why we become less productive over time when we are doing our work. So without further ado, let's get into this video. The main reason we don't begin our work is because of the lack of motivation. And so let's take a look at some classical musicians. And so if I look at professionals, because of this pandemic, all their concerts are cancelled, all their competitions are cancelled, and so they don't have the motivation to go and practice. The reason they don't have this motivation is because they don't have the pressure to do what they're supposed to do. And so we can think about it as lack of motivation, and that is caused by the lack of pressure. And another reason that causes this lack of motivation is because you feel the task will be too boring or too difficult to complete. And just like a lot of other things like electrons, they take the path of least resistance, and so do we. And as humans, this may be good for our survival, where we have to do the easiest things. However, as we develop, just surviving isn't good enough for us. We have to try and build our mindset, try and expand our knowledge, and so this magnetic repulsion against our work is what's preventing us from doing so. And so what this actually leads to is that you keep postponing your creative expression, you're overly critical of anything you're trying to do outside your safe comfort zone, you feel your work is never good enough to launch or publish, and you always find some excuse for not doing something. And so this is all caused by that lack of motivation and the automatic repulsion, as you don't feel that it's going to be instantly rewarding in a sense. And so this lack of motivation, pressure, and taking the path of least resistance is the biggest problem before starting your work. And continuing, I want to introduce a theory by Parkinson. It's called Parkinson's Law, and this theory is from a book published in 1942, and what it states that is work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. Now, what does that really mean? So this means that if you give yourself a week to complete a task that only takes 2 hours, psychologically speaking, the task will be more challenging, more difficult in terms of stress and everything, so it fills out the whole week, as that's what procrastination leads to. It may not even fill the extra time with more work, but just the stress and tension about having to get it done is what will fill the whole 2 weeks. By assigning the right amount of time to a task, we gain back more time, as the task will not be as daunting as we see, and it will reduce its complexity to a natural state. And there are two main points I get out of this Parkinson's Law. The more time we give ourselves, the more time we will take, and the more we procrastinate to do something, the longer we will procrastinate for, and and it will exponentially build up. The first point that I got was quite straightforward. However, the second idea of having this repulsion being exponentially developed is maybe kind of be unclear for some of you guys, so I just want to explain it. And so in simple terms, as you put off something for longer and longer, your brain thinks, oh, I didn't do it then, so why should I do it now? And there must have been a reason for why I didn't do it then, so I just won't do it now. And so the cycle continues until you face the consequences. And so now that I've talked about the issue and how the issue mainly comprises of the lack of motivation, the lack of pressure, this path of least resistance we take, and also Parkinson's Law, in which we just assign ourselves too much time to complete a task that isn't necessarily that long. And so here are some solutions that I use, and I really recommend you guys use it. And so here it is. And so the first solution is setting goals. There are two things by what I mean when I set goals. It's set goals for the next couple of hours and set a long-term goal, which could be months or even years. And so short-term goals you can think of as what you want to get done in the next 2 hours. So when I go to the library, I pack up all my books, I write a to-do list of what I want to get done, and so that's basically my goal. And I give myself a time constraint, and I try and complete the goal that I have set for myself. The second solution is rewarding yourself, and don't cut out what you enjoy in your life just to get more productive. That is not really gonna help you. And so what I like to do is I like to scroll through social media sometimes. So that could be my reward in a sense. So after I complete a task, whether it be read a certain amount of pages in a textbook or something, make notes. After that, I give myself some time to scroll through social media as a kind of reward. And this goes along with video games. Anyone that plays video games, make sure you guys don't start off with playing video games. Do some work and use the game as a reward of some sort. And the third solution is reflecting after a period of time of what you have achieved. So I like to do this after a couple of hours where I've given myself time to do some work, and I think back of what I have achieved in those couple of hours, or what I've achieved throughout the day if it's at night. And to simplify this, I write everything down in a journal, which I keep note of every day, and that allows me to review my day and see whether it has been productive or not. The fourth solution is building a habit and getting into what I call a workflow. I will talk about this idea of workflow and the dopamine trigger in a couple of other episodes, and so watch out for that. And so what I mean by building a habit is create a routine for yourself, whether it be starting with some flashcards, starting with analyzing text, whatever works for you, and so that you can get into the space of a workflow. The fifth and one of the most important solution is solely based off Parkinson's Law, and what I like to do is I like to create deadlines and time limits for certain work I do. And so this gives us pressure, which was one of the reasons why we procrastinated. So this gives us pressure and also gives us the motivation in a sense. After you set yourself the time, see how much you can get done. And if it's not done, it's all right. You can add yourself a bit more time because the time limit you set wasn't actually stretched out over a lot of hours. So you do have that extra time to add on and finish your work. This time limit not only applies to your work, but it can also apply to other hobbies like social media. And let's say I did not give myself a time limit. I could be here for hours after hours just scrolling through social media, which would just not benefit me at all. And so what I can do where I integrate Parkinson's Law is I give myself like a 5-minute time restraint where I just do everything. I text, I scroll through Instagram, whatever, and all that 5 minutes, and then I put my phone down and get back to work. And so that is one of the most important solutions that I can offer to you guys. And so here's a quick summary of the issue and the solution. And I want to leave you guys with something extra. The key lesson here is awareness, realizing when something's challenging and deciding not to take the easy way out, but push through it to explore ways, new ways, systems, principles, creative routines and habits that can help you grow as a person and become your best self. And that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe and watch out for the other episodes of this series. And make sure you give this video a thumbs up and comment down below what you guys want to see in the future. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.